This video isn't like anything else I've ever made, so forgive me if it seems a little off-piste. The truth is, what I'm presenting here is profoundly strange, to me at least, and involves knowledge that only ever circulated in very niche circles. Take your mind back to August of 2010. Fires are ravaging Russia whilst China is drowning in rainfall, and on the corner of the internet known as 4chan, a new worm is making its way through the user base. Introducing Trojan.js Chafpin-A, a worm that spread through social engineering and some clever Windows know-how. The virus first became known on the image boards of 4chan, which one week in August suddenly became overloaded with images like this. The textual directions are clear. Open the image in MS Paint, save it as a 24-bit bitmap, rename it to HTA, and shit bricks. If the user runs these directions, nothing obvious happens on the endpoint. Unbeknownst to the user, however, the worm will begin silently posting these same images to 4chan in the same manner as the initial infection. It is, in a way, a crude form of a DDoS attack. Interesting enough. Let's see how it works. This is an image I saved myself from the B board of 4chan back in August 2010. I know of no other untouched examples from that time. I'll now proceed to save it as a 24-bit bitmap. I have to have Windows Defender switched off, otherwise Windows detects the code. Now let's inspect this in a hex editor. You can see there's clearly more to this file than meets the eye. I have it open in Notepad++ to make it a bit easier to parse. Clearly visible is a sizable chunk of JavaScript code that performs the posting duties. As for what part actually parses the code, I'm not sure. I want to say C-script as the probable cause, but navigating to this address in HXD shows a very clear reference to an MZ binary, better known as an executable. The image encourages saving the file with the HTA extension, which is like XT but lesser known. I suspect the author was banking on user ignorance. So what we have here is a self-perpetuating worm that lived, wreaked havoc for a few nerds in 2010, then died a death shortly afterwards when antivirus got smarter. What's so interesting about that? It was probably just a bored kid's coding project. Not quite. There is another dimension to this, and it is the source of my fascination. Take another look at the bottom of the image. Note carefully this garbage data. This is important. 4chan performs a parity check on every image that is uploaded to it in order to save bandwidth. Users cannot upload a picture that is already part of another thread on the same board. This garbage data is here to throw off that filter. Simple enough, right? I will now proceed to rename the bitmap we created before. Instead of going by the author's suggestion and using HTA, I will rename it as a zip file. This revelation came about on the technology board, G, a day or so after the virus had begun doing its rounds. So by the time it was common knowledge, files were few and far between, as antivirus software had begun to recognize it. There were still some images, however, and no stone was left unturned in the gold rush that followed. We can see that lurking inside this image is a perfectly serviceable archive listing a file directory. First we have the system drive, C, then the Windows XP user directory, then the username, DJ Ecstasy, and then the pictures folder, inside which we have this. Hopefully now you are starting to understand why the gold rush was so pronounced. Upon inspecting the code, it turned out that the virus was doing more than just posting. In order to evade the filter, we already saw how it created random image data, but the way it did that caught everyone completely unawares. Unbeknownst to anyone, the virus was taking random files that met a certain file size threshold, archiving them, and translating them into the image data, which it would then append to the image it uploaded to 4chan in order to ensure it passed the parity check. This is the data that was sent alongside this particular image. Not too exciting in this case, but you get what you're given. Of greater interest to me is the fact that the original owner of this image, DJ Ecstasy, had no way of knowing that this file had been exfiltrated from their device, and I doubt anyone ever told them. What we have here is a truly incredible social experiment, illegality notwithstanding. I turn now to the other file in this folder. I've named it file.mp3 because the original title would give the game away. This file was leaked in much the same way as the other, although I have regrettably lost the source image. All I can tell you is that it was leaked from a user called Daniel.
It's time for the sexy rap!
You have to make him a sexy rap now.
I'm sexy beast in my office. I'm sexy in my office. You can't touch this. It's upstairs. I see you in the street. You're fat. You can't get me. I'm too sexy for you. That's why I'm in here. Oh yeah.
Size of my cravat.
Look at my cravat. It's too sexy for you. And my tea. It's like sexy juice. You can't have it. I bought it from India.
You can't handle the sexiness.
Too sexy. Let's move on.
Let's move on indeed. The file you just listened to was never intended to have been shared. The original author probably hasn't thought of it in many years. They can't have had any idea that anyone beyond their circle of friends would ever hear it, let alone bring it to light a decade later. Daniel, I can only apologize.